All right, now that we've gone through our mobility training, our three-tiered system, mobilize, strengthen, stretch, and our weaknesses that my PT has found, we're now getting into the meat and potatoes, how to program for hybrid athletics. And these are the things that we have to go through to get you guys the goodies. Just love me for that. Like, love me for that, because that shit sucks and it's hard. This is never fun, but this is the stuff that sets you apart.
He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in the house.
Frequency.
Welcome to episode 119 of Next Level Radio.
Yo everybody, welcome to our newest video. If you have not liked, subscribed, told your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, please do smash the like and subscribe button to keep up with everything that we're doing on the journey to be the fittest dad on earth. Today it is a beautiful, beautiful Saturday. My family is sleeping, thus we could not do our intro at the house because if I wake the child up, it is not a good deal. So we are at the gym, and today we are going to give you the tangible assets you need to see if you want to be a hybrid athlete, if it is something that you think you can do. So we're going to show you the ins and outs of what our routine is and how we structure our training. Running and strength training are two very opposite ends of the spectrum, and to marry those two together is nothing short of a miracle. We either end up injured or you're under or overtrained. So we need to find that spot where we can be very happy right in the middle, but be able to be ready for anything and everything. So today we're going to go over our Saturday routine, what that entails, and then show you the ins and outs of the programming as we provide all the programming for ourselves. Our hybrid model is a little bit different than most other people's, and there's a reason. Most other people's are looking for the aesthetics of bodybuilding and the performance of endurance running. What we're looking for is true athleticism, being able to be utilitarian and ready for everything. So our bottom line objective is to be the best athlete possible and be ready for everything. So our model is specifically to make us the best athlete possible. So you're gonna see our routine, you're gonna see our programming, and it's gonna be a beautiful Saturday. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is gonna be a good one. Look at that service. Look at that service. All right, ladies and gents, here's the drill. Our first thing this Saturday, we have 45 minutes on the assault bike. We're going below 155 beats per minute on our heart rate. We're going low and slow for our long duration run as we progress back into our marathon training. This is never fun, but this is the stuff that sets you apart. Come here, sit, stay, shake, stay, through. Oh, baby, good morning, cute girl. All right, Saturday, mobility and weakness training. When I first started out as a hybrid athlete, I took this for granted big time. I thought I was bulletproof, thought I could do everything, and thought you could burn the candle at both ends. Well, that's a learning experience. And now what we have done is we've made changes, and we have a mobility/weakness training twice a week. We're gonna take you through this specific one, which goes through the 3-tiered system: mobilize, strengthen, stretch. The one that people always forget about is strengthen. We think when a muscle's tight, we need to stretch it. It's not the case. We need to figure out that we have to strengthen that tissue first. When a muscle is weak, it becomes tight. And stretching it does not make it less weak. So we're gonna go through the 3-tiered system, starting with our mobilization. In that 3-tiered system, we need to drive blood flow to the tissue first. And to do that, we're gonna be using lacrosse balls, we're gonna be using foam rollers, anything we can just to bring blood flow to that tissue. So we're first gonna go right on that piriformis, glute medius, and really drive tension into that tissue. This one gives me just a shot, an absolute shot into that muscle, thus knowing that it's a weakness of mine. After the glute med, glute max, and glute min, we're going to go straight to the hamstrings and calves. My father, my uncle, blessed me with quite possibly the largest calves I've ever seen. However, I've never worked a day in my life to train calves. So those things get bound up. And through my physical therapist, through piecing the puzzle together of my athletic career, my quads have always been dominant. I've always had overactive quads, go, 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 going downhill, and the slowing down was an afterthought. So we're gonna try to drive some blood flow to these tissues by just nice and easy foam rolling. We got about 30 seconds left on the hamstrings. After the hamstrings, we're going straight to the hip flexors. Many times people just go for the problem where they have pain, where the symptoms persist. However, if we just focus solely on where the problem persists, we're not going to get it because the problem lies elsewhere. It's just showing up and the symptoms are in that tissue. So just on the opposite side, and something that I've dealt with weakness-wise, is my hip flexors. When I did the Bismarck Marathon, towards the last kick of the race, the last 2 miles, I felt like I was dragging my feet across the ground. I could hear the gravel. I could not get my hip flexors to fire up, and I just felt like they were fatigued, and it was a big weakness of mine. So in turn, you learn all these lessons as you go through, and that was at my half marathon. We're going full marathons, Spartan ultras, all these big things. I better get my shit together. So we're gonna drive some blood flow to these tissues, bend the opposite knee, and just get really deep on the edge of that foam roller and try to feel that popping sensation in that hip flexor as you rotate over and back as it glides across the iliac crest of your hip. Now, shit's about to get Western. We're getting our lacrosse ball, our adults bouncy ball, and we're going to really dig on those problem areas. So we're gonna go piriformis as it attaches right at the sacrum. We're going out and in, trying to find those pain points, but we're gonna go into external rotation with the hip, because that is the function of that piriformis. External rotation, and now we're just digging. Oh. After the piriformis, now we're gonna go on to the second tissue, the problem tissue. That's gonna be the hip flexors. We're gonna do the same exact motion, but now with the lacrosse ball. No, I'm not humping the ground. Yes, I'm trying to be the fittest dad on earth. Now we've gone through the mobilization, now we're looking to actually strengthen and stretchen that tissue simultaneously. So our first one we're gonna do is our 90-90 hips. I'm going to strategically face this way because I got a hole in the crotch. That's what happens when you have a freaking ass like a school bus and quads bigger than the size of Texas. You can't find any shorts that don't rip after a week. So we're gonna go 90-90. We're getting into internal and external rotation about the hips, and then we're going to transition over and really staying tall in our posture, trying to get blood flow through those tissues. And we always talk about motion is lotion. We're trying to lubricate those joints with blood flow to help healing and to help increase our active range of motion. Now we got our 90-90 lift. So this is going to cause us to really start challenging that hip flexor. So we're gonna start leaning forward, drive the knee into the ground, lift the tib and fib, and retract. You're gonna feel this in your glute, your glute max. You're going to feel this in your groin, your adductors, and you're also going to feel this in your hamstrings a little bit. We're trying to increase that active range of motion, and we're trying to increase the external rotation of the right leg and the internal rotation of the left. Thus far, you guys haven't seen a crotch shot yet, so we're doing good. All right, now working on specifically the glute max and the piriformis. We have two movements, simple movements. We have the glute bridge, banded, and a banded clamshell. The glute bridge is looking right at that glute max. However, for many years, I've done this banded glute bridge, and yet when we don't think about the execution, going from point A to point B as best as we can, I can go through this movement that is supposed to activate my glutes without activating my glutes. You have to consciously think about it, put a conscious effort into what you're doing, because half the time you can just go through the motions, you're not getting out what you need. When you truly think about this, we're trying to flip our pelvis, squeeze our ass cheeks. That's when you're really going to get the benefit that you need. I've been doing this all wrong, not thinking about the execution. And as a strength coach, that's all I think about. I'm looking at the execution of, the setup and execution of all our primal movements, our big movements. Yet I just completely threw it out the window when thinking about the accessory stuff until you get injured. That's when you really need to pull back and look at the setup and execution and see what I'm trying to drive adaptation out of this movement. Dig your big toes, smash those in the ground. That turns your glute max on, and then think about flipping the bowl of water underneath as you squeeze your ass cheeks and strategically facing away from you so you don't get a crotch shot of my MeUndies. The next one is our banded clamshell. So now we're going to really work on that piriformis, get into active external rotation, and then control the eccentric motion on the way down. So we're gonna lay out here, drive that knee up and back down. Still no crotch shot. Lief running. I'm in the need of some shorts, dog. I need you guys. Oh, I know you guys want to sponsor the fittest dad on earth. And we don't know each other personally, my boys at Lief. I don't know you personally, but I know what you stand for and I know the product that you make. And I'm telling you right now, you may not know me personally, but I will go to the ends of the earth. I will burn the ships to be the fittest dad on earth. You have no idea how crazy I am up here. Just telling you. Now we're gonna work on some weaknesses that my physical therapist, Dr. Murphy with Run Labs found, and a lot of it stem around internal, external rotation of the hips and how my foot is landing in my running. Landing on the outside of the foot, driving pressure through my quads, and then finishing with my adductors instead of finishing with my glutes. So we're gonna work on heel to toe progression that he's taught me. So we're first just gonna go here. We're gonna slide back, keeping everything tight and tall, not leaning, not hinging at the hips. And then we're going from our feet to our heels, feet to our heels. All right, the next one is a single leg variation of the same one. We're gonna try to be 1 foot away from the wall. And now without hinging our hips, driving our head forward, we're going to try to tap our head to the wall, keeping stacked, going from our forefoot to our heel, forefoot to our heel. Now our last two progressions are going to try to make it look a little bit more like running so that we can apply it directly instead of just doing exercises. Now we're going our lean heel toe. So I'm going to try to lean forward followed with heel to toe landing instead of toe to heel, which is what I've been used to my whole life with sprinting. So we're gonna be here nice and tall. We're going to fall forward, try to go heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe. Now the last one, and most important to translate to the running, is going to be our heel-toe progression with that knee up, toe up. So we're going to try to mimic our running so that when we get on the treadmill, we know what it's supposed to feel like instead of just doing glute bridges and clamshells the rest of my life. So now we're doing the same thing, having that big lean forward, but we're going to try to drive our knee up, toe up, and land heel to toe. Knee up, toe up, heel to toe. All right, now that we've gone through our mobility training, our 3-tiered system, mobilize, strengthen, stretch, and our weaknesses that my PT has found, we're now getting into the meat and potatoes, how to program for hybrid athletics. First and foremost, my model is much different than most or all other hybrid athletes. They're looking for the aesthetics and the performance side of endurance. I could care less about the aesthetics. That's just the icing on the cake that comes with the training. What we care about is pure athletic performance, being able to do anything at the drop of a hat. That's what matters. We could care less about how we look. That just comes with the program. Having said that, we have our objectives and our goals that dictate and drive this programming. Okay? So first and foremost, we want to reach our max potential. And when I say reach max potential, this is not just as an athlete. This is through a father, a husband, a coach, an investor, a business owner. So our training includes reaching max potential in every single one of those categories. The next one is be ready for anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Whether that's having to go run a marathon, whether that's lifting 700 pounds on the trap bar, whether that's squatting X or pressing Z, or moving a piano for old lady Joe across the street. It does not matter. We want to be able to do everything at our max potential. And our third objective is going to be set the example for my kids. Having these very, very important mentors and examples in my life completely changed my life. When I was at the bottom of the barrel, those were the people that brought me out. I want to set that example for my son, for my family. They see dad loves to train, dad loves the process. That's what builds better humans in the end. So that is our objectives of our hybrid model. Now we have our goals that drive our hybrid model. These are going to be different for each person, but these are the specific goals for 2024, and they're super simple. Number one, full marathon. We have got to our half marathon and many, many road runs and hill runs, but they've all been a half marathon distance. And then we have our Spartan Ultra. I am a person that was a sprinter, was a college football player. I love going fast. Thus, these Spartan Ultras are built for me. Those are where I thrive the most. I'm willing my way through a full marathon. I'm doing the training to get there, but the Spartan Ultras are right up my alley. So those are the goals and objectives that drive this training model specifically. So if yours align very closely, this could be a very good training model. But if you are different in your goals and aspirations and objectives, you need to ask yourself before reverse engineering your programming to fit the goals and aspirations that you have. All right, so here's the most important and the thing that everybody wants. What do you do as a hybrid athlete? How do you structure your training? How do you work out twice a day? How do you fit everything in? Here is exactly what you guys need. We broke it down into objectives that we need to hit our objectives and our goals. So we broke it down into different aspects that need to be there so that we can get to these goals. So number one, we're gonna go through our Monday all the way through. So on Mondays, we're going to hit our strength training. And when we say strength training, this is a general term. We're going to be doing strength training, power training, hypertrophy training. This is just banging weights, moving heavy things, and getting after it. So Mondays, we're gonna hit our strength training, our trunk work. Anytime we say trunk, it's our dynamic athletic trunk work. And then we're gonna hit our zone 2 or our first easy run of the week. This is below 153 beats per minute for me. So you take your age minus 180, and that is going to give you your MAF. That is where you want to be with all your long zone 2 easy runs. Tuesday, we're going to hit our strength training again, and then we're going to hit blood flow restriction for the arms. If you've seen our last vlog, we've shown you what we do for our blood flow restriction for the arms and our legs. This is going to help drive adaptation quicker, making the stimulus higher, making the intensity higher, thus damaging the muscle and getting the hypertrophic effect that we want. Okay, so Tuesdays aren't too bad. And then we're gonna go to Wednesdays. This is our third strength training day in a row, and this is when we need a break. So we're gonna hit our strength training early, and then we're going to go into our interval and tempos. This is the hardest thing for me personally. Growing up my whole life, it was sprint, 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 go fast, fast, fast. I'm good for 40 yards and a sandwich, and then I need some oxygen, okay? These are the hardest ones because here, it's low and slow. Zone 2 work, just set it and forget it. Then on the other end of the spectrum is true sprinting, going as fast as humanly possible. This interval and tempo or speed work is where you're right in the middle. You're setting a longer duration that I struggle with, whether it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 mile, 10 miles, and you're going for a quicker pace than you would if you were just going zone 2. That is that intermediary where I really struggle with. So on that day, we're gonna hit our strength, and then we're gonna hit our interval / tempo, and then that's our first mobility / weakness training that you guys just saw. We're gonna do that first day. After we get past hump day, we're gonna go to Thursday. This is gonna be our first non-strength training day, okay? So we first hit our Metcon, metabolic conditioning, and that can mean many different things, an AMRAP, EMOM, whatever you want to call it, you can do it. It's an AMRAP or a Metcon day, and then we're going to follow that up with dynamic trunk work, okay? So we're going to hit our trunk work for the second time this week, and then this is the first day where we take our true strength training off. And many people would look at a Metcon and say, that's strength training. I'm sorry to tell you guys, you may not know exercise science, true exercise science, not just having your personal training certification or your CrossFit level 1. Metcon is not the same as strength training. Strength training is banging heavy weights, moving high percentages for minimal reps in the scheme that you're looking to train, whether that's power, strength, or hypertrophy along the force velocity curve, which we will get into in a later video. Metcon is I am just putting weights on the bar and I'm trying to make myself tired. Whatever your objective is, you're trying to make yourself tired. We're trying to build a bigger engine. That is all CrossFit is. They're not looking to drive adaptation for athleticism. They're not looking to drive adaptation for strength. They're looking at building a bigger engine. And it is the most effective. CrossFit is the most effective way to build a bigger engine, but is one of the most least effective ways to build athletes. And so we are taking strength training off and we have a true Metcon day, not strength training. And then moving on to the last days of the week, our Friday and our Saturdays. Our Fridays, we're gonna hit our second zone 2 of the week. So we're gonna go 153 beats per minute or less for a long duration. And that's a minimum of 30 minutes up to 60 to an hour and a half. And then we're gonna also hit our strength training day. So we took it off with our Metcon day on Thursday, and then we're gonna progress into our strength training for Friday. And that is our last strength training for the week until we hit Monday of the following. And then we get into our Saturday. This is our second, if you can see, from our Wednesday to our Saturday. This is our second mobility / weakness day that is working on all the weaknesses that I have, which are plentiful. And then we go into our long runs. The difference between an easy zone 2 and a long run is duration and heart rate. Okay, so we're looking at driving mileage rather than just keeping at a low and slow pace for 30 to 45 minutes. So this is going to be usually our longer runs during our marathon prep. This is our 8, 10, 12, 15, and then our big marathon pace races at 20 miles on a Saturday. So this is exactly how we've programmed. We broke it down into the aspects that we need for our objectives and our goals, and that breaks down into strength, trunk work, zone 2, strength, blood flow restriction, strength, interval tempo / speed work with mobility weakness training, Metcon, trunk work, strength, zone 2, mobility, and long runs. So this is a progress, and this is a protocol that you guys can adapt to and you guys can use for your training, but you first need to ask yourself, what is my objectives? What is my goals? And if they're the exact same, This is a model for you. If they're a little bit different, think about what you need for success, for your objectives and your goals, reverse engineer it, and now you have your hybrid training model. Peace. See, this is the problem with uploading podcasts and YouTube videos. I had to connect my laptop to my hotspot because I'm trying to upload a YouTube video and a podcast at the same time, but we're gonna leave Wi-Fi, and if I leave Wi-Fi, it shuts off. And these are the things that we have to go through to get you guys the goodies. Just love me for that. Like, love me for that, because that shit sucks and it's hard. Rant over. Lief running. I'm telling you guys, here's the space biscuits. I reached out to you, we're talking about it. Guys, I love what you guys do. I have 3 separate space biscuit shorts. You guys make the best shorts in running for big boys like myself and hybrid athletes. Sponsor the fittest dad on earth. I'm wild, I'm crazy, and I'm going to stop at nothing. I will scorch earth to be the fittest dad on earth. And I want Lief running to go along with me, so I don't have to not show crotch shots during my YouTube videos. All right, me and the family are at Dominion Boxing. We are getting ready for the Jake Paul fight come March 2nd, and we're coming to watch the sparring session. We had some athletes come from South Dakota to be Ryan's sparring partners to get him ready for that Jake Paul fight. So the family, I, and the whole team, his boxing coach, his nutritionist, everybody, we're here for the Saturday spar, and we are getting after it. This one is sad. If anybody's seen this book or had this when they were younger, this book is sad.
This?
Yeah? Yeah, okay. There we go. Good morning, y'all. It is now Sunday morning, the best day of the week. The family and I got to sleep in a little bit. We're going to get ready for church, and then we have our regular Sunday routine. Usually I get my scheduling done, my content done, and then emails for the week. And then we have to get our mobility and our 100 push-ups that are a daily thing with Little Ridge Man. And then the most important part of my week that has completely changed how I get up on Monday mornings is my checklist for the week. Okay, we do this every single day, setting us up for the opportunities that we have, doing the things that we don't want to do, doing the things that we do want to do. This has completely revolutionized how I wake up, because prior I would wake up on Monday mornings and I just have no purpose. I go to work, I come back, and I say, now what? With this, you have a purpose. You know exactly what you're going to do, and I can just linearly check everything off, and it's a beautiful process for my brain. Yesterday, a little nugget that I want to share with you guys, because this is something that hit me hard. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast 2094 with my dude, Colin Noor. He has his own YouTube channel. He's a very big gun advocate. He's one of the best in the space, does a lot of reviews, does a lot of testing, and he's one of my favorite guys out there. And yesterday on that podcast, he talked about burnout. And I've been to a point of burnout. I've been to a point of very high stress, not knowing exactly what to do. And he talked about how we have this vision of retirement, sitting on the beach, drinking a margarita, doing all these things. And all that he was saying hit home so hard. So when I think about a relaxing time, my wife and I are going to go to Puerto Rico here in like 2.5 weeks to get ready for the Jake Paul fight. And my idea of relaxation is sitting on the beach making content, sitting on the beach reading a book, sitting on a beach going through opportunities and emails on my laptop. That is my idea of relaxation. It's not completely unplugging and drinking a margarita and just not doing anything. And so we talked about this principle of burnout. And he talked about how he used to think about work as I need to get this project done so I can get to nothing. I need to get this project done so I can get to nothing. And I know you guys exactly know this thought process. I need to finish this project so I can just do nothing for a long period of time. But instead, we need to look at it as this process that we enjoy. We enjoy what we do. I am so blessed that I get to train athletes, make content, do podcasts, do real estate. That's what I love. It's what gets me up out of bed every day. So instead of thinking about work and these projects and your business as I need to get this project done so I can get to nothing, you now can look at it as I can get this project done and enjoy this process that I'm in. This is what I'm doing. So instead of looking at getting it done to be done, to do nothing, we get it done to move on to the next thing that we enjoy. That we're blessed to have this opportunity that we can build and create and help others. This was revolutionary for me. I never thought about it like that because my mindset is always like, even on Sundays, I need to get my schedule done so I can do nothing. I need to get my content done so I can do nothing. This is what true burnout is, guys, because there's never a point when you're just going to do nothing. Because in 2.5 weeks when we head to Puerto Rico and we're going to be on the beach and we're going to be enjoying our time, I'm going to be in the corner for the Jake Paul fight as my boy Ryan Rhino knocks the piss out of Jake Paul. I'm looking forward to the time at the beach, sitting with my wife, whether I have a margarita or not, doing emails, making content, having the laptop. It's just ingrained in me because I love that process. So if you guys can think about how you can rewire your work set and how you can rewire your brain to understand that we enjoy the process. This is what we do. Because if we sat idle for more than a day, we're going to go crazy. So I hope you guys can take these nuggets from this hybrid training model, apply it to exactly what you guys want. And if you guys took anything from this, document your day, okay? Document your day. And lastly, on this hybrid training model, you need to ask yourself, as we talked about, the 2 questions. What's your objectives and what's your goals for this training? If they align perfectly with mine, you have a model that works great. This is a professional model I built that has built many hybrid athletes. If your objectives and your goals are a little bit different, you then can reverse engineer what you need out of it. Instead of running a Spartan Ultra, are you trying to get to a 10K? Well, then you don't need as many miles as I'm doing. Or on the other side, if you're trying to do 50, 80, 100-mile races, you're going to need a lot more miles than I do. So get your goals, get your objectives, reverse engineer your training, write Monday through Saturday on the board, and just start picking apart the different aspects you need to have success in your goals and your objectives. It's called reverse engineering. It's the best way to create your programs. I thank you guys for coming on the video, supporting the channel. We have massive aspirations, and we always say it. It all starts with you guys. You guys watch this, you guys share this, and I can't thank you guys enough. We put a lot of time and effort into this. And so if you haven't liked and subscribed, tell your mother, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your uncle. We're doing big things so that you guys can be the best version of yourselves as we go on this journey of being the fittest dad on earth. Thank you guys, and we will see you guys in the next video.